Today we're taking a look at these NFL matches, which are happening on Monday, September 12, 2022. And giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos, and if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. You can get 30 extra betting picks all the way up to 360 extra betting picks per month. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting picks that ends up costing you a lot of money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Going back to our video, we will give you 2 betting picks for each game, a team pick and a total pick based on facts and detailed explanation. So make sure to watch our videos till the end so you don't miss any of our picks. Last season, the Broncos finished 19th in the league in passing offense with 211.4 yards per game and 13th in rushing offense with 119.1 yards per contest. Denver was tied for 23rd in the league in scoring offense with 19.7 points per game and stood 3rd in scoring defense by allowing 18.9 points per contest. Russell Wilson completed 259 of 400 passes for 3,113 yards with 25 touchdowns and 6 interceptions while getting sacked 33 times last season. He added 183 yards and 2 scores on the ground as well. Melvin Gordon III led the ground game with 203 carries for 918 yards and 8 scores. Javonte Williams did a solid job as a rookie, running the ball 203 times for 903 yards and 4 scores as part of a timeshare. Courtland Sutton is the team's top returning pass catcher, with 58 receptions for 776 yards and 2 scores. Tim Patrick, 53 receptions, 734 yards, 5 TD, was solid but is out for the year. That means Jerry Jeudy, 38 catches, 467 yards, tight end Albert Okwuegbunam, 33 catches, 330 yards, 2 TD, along with Gordon III, 28 catches, 213 yards, 2 TD, and Williams, 43 receptions, 316 yards, 3 TD, will all have to contribute this season. Brandon McManus hit 33 of 34 extra point attempts and 26 of 31 field goal attempts last season, with a long of 61. In 2021, the Seahawks finished 23rd in the league in passing offense as they averaged 201.9 yards per game through the air and 11th in rushing offense with 122 yards per contest on the ground. Seattle was 16th in the league in scoring offense with an average of 23.2 points per game and 11th in scoring defense by allowing 21.5 points per contest. Geno Smith, who backed up Wilson, is the new starter under center. He completed 65 of 95 passes for 702 yards with 5 touchdowns and 1 interception while getting sacked 13 times. Smith added 42 yards plus a score on the ground. Drew Lock, acquired in the Wilson trade, was 67 of 111 for 787 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks last season for the Broncos. Rashad Penny led the team with 119 carries for 749 yards and 6 scores last season. He's the number 1 back in the backfield. Kenneth Walker III, once he's healthy, will be involved in the timeshare while Travis Homer, 21 carries, 177 yards, TD, and DJ Dallas, 33 carries, 138 yards, 2 TD, are quality depth options. In the passing game, DK Metcalf led the team with 75 receptions for 967 yards and 12 scores a season ago. Tyler Lockett, 73 receptions, 1175 yards, 8 TD, and tight end Noah Fant, 68 catches, 670 yards, 4 TD with Denver, provide good options for the underwhelming quarterback play. Jason Myers hit 44 of 47 extra point attempts and 17 of 23 on field goal attempts with a long of 53 last season. It's not all that often when you see a team deal away a star player in the offseason and end up watching them return to open the next season. That's the scenario that the Seahawks find themselves in here as Wilson, armed with a new contract and the desire to show his former team that he has plenty in the tank, leads his new team against his former squad. Seattle is a team in disarray offensively as no one is impressed with the Smith-Lock duo under center. The Seahawks have a pair of quality receivers, but with a mediocre quarterback situation and a defense that has been stripped of most of its big names, it could be a long season in the Pacific Northwest. Wilson and the Broncos offense does the job, and they put the boots to the Seahawks to start the year 1-0. Give the points and take the visitors here. Our team pick is Denver Broncos minus 6.5 points. Denver averaged 19.7 points per game last season. They threw for 211.4 yards and ran for 119.1 yards per game. They hired Nathaniel Hackett in the offseason, and they're hoping he can improve their offense after struggling under defensive-minded Vic Fangio. In Seattle, Wilson completed 64.8% of his passes for 3,113 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. They had one of the best running games in the league, led by Melvin Gordon III and Javonte Williams, who ran for over 900 yards apiece. Courtland Sutton had 776 yards and 2 touchdowns last season and is expected to have a big season for the Broncos. Tim Patrick had 734 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns, but he tore his ACL in training camp and will miss the entire season. Jerry Jeudy, who had 467 receiving yards last season, should see more balls thrown his way in Patrick's absence. The Seahawks might not want to use the word, but there is no other way of explaining their offseason moves other than a team rebuild. They traded away their franchise quarterback and released their left tackle as well as one of their best defensive players, opting to go with younger unproven talent. Despite their offseason losses, Pete Carroll believes they can remain competitive this season because of young talented players like DK Metcalf. Seattle averaged 23.2 points per game last season. They threw for 201.9 yards and ran for 122 yards per game. Geno Smith, who has been named their starter for this game, completed 68.4% of his passes for 702 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Rashad Penny led the team with 749 rushing yards and 6 touchdowns, while Tyler Lockett led the team with 1,175 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. The Broncos averaged 19.7 points per game last season, but they improved their offense with the addition of Wilson and have a lot of depth at the receiver position. They are facing a defense that was one of the worst against the pass last season and gave up 21.5 points per game. With the Seahawks not making any significant improvement on defense, they will have a hard time slowing down the Broncos, who will score at least 3 touchdowns in this game. The Seahawks averaged 23.2 points per game last season and they lost their best defensive player in the offseason. The Broncos had one of the best defenses in the league last season and they got better in the offseason, adding players like Randy Gregory. With the quarterback position expected to be a liability this season, the Seahawks will struggle offensively and won't score enough points to push the score over the total. Our total pick is under 44.5 points.